Hi, everyone. It's Kristen with the Williams team here to share with you what's the latest activity in the Austin real estate market. So this week we've had Spring Break and South by Southwest. So most of the metrics that we track, like new listings, the number of closings, both of those numbers are down pretty substantially from the past week over week over week. But that makes sense because a lot of people travel for the spring break holiday, especially if they're family with kids in school with the spring break holiday. And then a lot of people just take off and do South by Southwest stuff because that's a really big event here in our town. So we just didn't see as much activity. But one of the metrics we do track is days on market. And I have seen week over week since the beginning of this year, that number continuously declines, which means that homes are selling faster. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're selling as fast as they were 2-3 years ago. We saw homes selling like in 14 days on average, which means a lot of those listings that hit the market would sell within the weekend, and we had multiple offers. So we're not necessarily seeing that kind of fast activity, although it is isolated and it is happening. So we are seeing that in some instances. But overall, we're just seeing that number continuously, steadily decreases, meaning that homes are selling a little bit faster than they were this time a year ago, and even this time almost 2 years ago. So that is a metric that we're tracking, that I'm seeing positive signs that there's just activity happening. I would say a year ago, there wasn't a lot of activity. And so there wasn't a whole lot to report on necessarily that was positive if you were in the market to be a buyer or a seller. I would say that right now, the market climate, I said this last week, very reasonable. Like if you are reasonable about what you're looking for, you probably going to be able to find a house because there's a lot of good inventory. And as long as you're a seller who seems to be reasonable about what you're willing to give a buyer for potential repairs or pricing your home in alignment with the other homes in the neighborhood, we're just seeing a lot of reasonable activity right now. So that's what I would say, like week over week, the climate in the market, we're getting a lot of deals put together and wins on both sides. And so that's really been very positive. So overall, I would describe the market as positive. There's movement, there's activity, but nobody seems to be taking advantage of anyone in the market that we're in, at least in the real estate transactions that we're doing as a team. And we're doing a lot of transactions right now as a team, which is great. So we're always here to support, help, strategize. I had a really good strategy conversation yesterday with a past client talking about timing and timeline and, just kind of thinking through this year. We have, obviously a very big election, and typically during an election year, all consumer behavior tends to stop, right? Especially if a big real estate transaction is going to happen. People don't necessarily, they want to see what happens after the election. But on the flip side, we're expecting interest rates to continue to decline, and they have been on the higher side for the past 24 months. And so it is very likely that lower interest rates might actually pick the market back up, and we may not have a slowdown because it's the election year. So we'll see. But it was fun to have that strategy conversation, and no crystal ball, but just some of the thoughts that I am having conversations with clients about. So anyhow, reach out if there's anything we could do for you. We certainly love what we get to do every day. Our team is awesome, and have a wonderful weekend ahead.